Hey guys, Kevin Cage back with another cryptocurrency update. Welcome to the channel. Like and subscribe if you're serious about the digital asset space, and let's get right into it today. So one take uncut talking about XRP in the XRP ecosystem and some developments and also some past history for any newcomers. So to kick things off, a very important video here shared by Status. And again, Status, tomato, tomato. It is STEDAS on Twitter. So a quote from Douglas Borthwick, Modern Wall Street Roundtable in 2018 says, I can imagine in the next 5 years, we might be using, say, British pound sterling versus Ripple instead of the sterling versus the dollar or yen. So with Ripple, keep in mind back in the day, they did use Ripple and the term XRP interchangeably. Now they have made it two very distinct, groups, Ripple being the private company, XRP being the digital asset. And of course, with Ripple, you can do settlements within seconds. It kind of has a quasi reserve currency type of capability with it. So let's listen to this.
That's exactly right. There are some cryptos that are working with regulators and
I think you guys can recognize this gentleman right here.
Working with banks.
I agree.
Ripple would be an example.
Ripple would
XRP.
be an example, right?
Now this is and I can imagine in the next 5 years, instead of us doing sterling against the dollar or sterling against yen and doing these kinds of transactions, we'll do sterling versus Ripple. And the reason being, dollar right now is a 2-day settlement. With something like Ripple, you could do settlement in seconds. And I think that there's a future there where the guy that's trading spot FX today will be trading spot FX against Ripple in the future, in the next 2 or 3 years. So I think that Ripple has a great future because it's right now supported by all the banks and by all the regulators.
So in 2018, he says, by all the banks and by all the regulators. Now notice, of course, we see Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Dash, and IOTA included. But I mean, on this list, at least, is important cryptocurrencies that are being integrated. But notice how he's saying this with a lot of conviction, okay? So keep in mind, they might not all be using XRP, but a lot of them have gateways and just API connections where it is, simply a flip of the switch type of thing with software rollout, no more hardware.
It has an elastic monetary base, right?
So well, if we take that and you go to the blockchain ledger, if you take that concept that you're discussing, I have no problem with it. I agree with it. But you're talking about money. You're talking about transaction, a medium of exchange. There has to be something behind it, and that's where I'm going to pull this conversation back to gold. There has to be some sort of reserve asset. The problem with fiat currencies right now is that they can print.
Yep, and I completely agree with him. I am a huge metals advocate. And people ask, okay, well, what is the value that will be behind XRP? And my response to that is simply the amount of value that they're transferring. If it's high enough value, it'll appreciate to accommodate that amount in terms of liquidity. So I don't think anything's going to change. I know some people believe that, XRP will be transacting precious metals and oil and commodities and equities and, STOs and things of that nature on the ledger. Yeah, it's absolutely possible. But to be able to do that, XRP will have to appreciate in price due to, the amount of value that it is actually transferring. Even if it does bridge CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, which would be an awesome goal. And keep in mind, right now it is targeting the on-demand liquidity corridors between different nations, starting off with the low-hanging fruit. All right, so right here, shared with another quote by Status, again, his website, status.hr. So this is Barbara Gonzalez Briseño, head of finance at Bitso. And of course, Bitso, one of the partners, again, is one of the biggest, I believe it's a Mexican exchange, and they are obviously, responsible for the Mexican peso and USD corridor with Ripple. And they are the largest cryptocurrency exchange in Mexico. So quote right here, using on-demand liquidity, aka XRP, for me as a customer has been a game changer. You see two screens, and how money travels so fast, and within the minute you have the money and it costs you cents. Love that. And again, this was at the actual Ripple Swell conference in November of 2019. And then another quote here underneath, Interbank Peru, of course, because they're targeting Latin America specifically, chooses Ripple on-demand liquidity for cross-border payments. They started with Xcurrent after a year of testing Xcurrent, of course, which is more so the messaging. You can kind of get, foreign exchange rates beforehand and understand everything and, payment tracking and processing, similar to Swift GPI. Then they make that switch effortlessly to the cryptocurrency XRP for international transactions. All right, and this is from, I believe, Josie Mantilla. I'm not sure how to pronounce that first name, but Interbank Peru. All right, so next up, interesting here. So King Solomon, e-wallet launches international remittance services to 200 countries and territories, over 350,000 locations in the MoneyGram partnership. Now again, MoneyGram, of course, second largest MSB. tightly, connected with Ripple, of course, via the strategic partnership. Some argue it's, partially, a strategic partnership or acquisition. You could argue, it doesn't really matter. I'm just showing the interconnectivity here. So King Solomon found this. E-wallet customers can now make international money transfers in real time, free of charge, from the safety of their homes. So as we can see here, just some screenshots to support that as well. Feel free to pause the screen. Again, to 200 countries. We can see 350 locations, operates in over 200 countries and territories. And it's just e-wallet customers specifically, talking about, digital financial services. Next up, we can see right here, over 200 countries, territories, regulated and licensed by the central bank of the, UAE. All right. And again, just like that guy in the previous video right here said that, they already have all the banks and regulators. I mean, even in 2018, we had, what was his name? The gentleman from Ripple saying that we already had over 50% of all banks in India in Ripple's pipeline. And then right here, regulated and licensed, eWallet is a revolutionary digital payment service aimed at empowering the UAE residents with safe, convenient, and flexible payment solutions through an easy-to-use mobile app. So clearly, for populations that are even unbanked, they'll be mobile banked, or some version or another. Right? Digital wallets are a thing. They've been being tested for years at this point. So don't be surprised by this. We're going to see more and more of this, okay? If we're going to an internet of value, you need people to be able to access that internet of value. You need people to be able to store and custody and things of that nature. And then regulations along with it, KYC, AML, you name it, all right? Next up, this is interesting, shared by I Am Legion. So eCurrency announces commercial launch of the e-Piso, a digital Philippine peso. Check this out. So briefly, again, eCurrency announces commercial launch of this e-Piso going digital. They launched its secure digital money product in the Philippines under the Regulatory Sandbox Initiative, recently introduced by Banco Central ng Pilipinas, I guess, BSP. So the solution was discussed during a workshop, ITU focus group, digital fiat currency, held at Cornell Tech Campus in New York back in 2018. As we can see here, more than 20 merchants displayed and sold their goods at a cashless marketplace to consumers who transacted in the secure e-Piso. Right? I keep wanting to say peso. But again, I'm very happy to see this launch successfully start to make digital financial services truly secure and affordable. All about operational efficiency, security, transparency for, regulators as well. Pros and cons to it as well. Okay, talking about the currency. And now what I want to tie into is this, shared by I Am Legion again. State-issued digital currencies. Now here are the countries which adopted, rejected, or even researched the concept of these state-issued digital currencies. All right, so let's check this out and kind of zoom through this briefly just to show you how long things have been in the works in terms of just, of course, improving control, but showing operational efficiency and going to a tokenized landscape. Excuse me. Need a sip of water really quick. All right, so on July 5th, Germany rejected the idea of issuing a central bank-issued digital currency, CBDC. The Ministry of Finance deemed it would be too risky to implement one. Didn't a gentleman from Germany, was he the financial minister or some version of another that committed suicide, supposedly, in front of a train last week or so? I thought it was from Germany. But anyways, let's keep going. Boom, just wanted to pause it and find out that article again, so I wasn't crazy. So German minister commits suicide after virus crisis worries him. And this was on March 29th, 2020. As we can see here, Thomas Schäfer, the finance minister of Germany's Hesse state, I'm sorry guys, I'm not from Germany, has committed suicide apparently after becoming deeply worried over how to cope with the economic fallout from the CV. State Premier Volker Bouffier, I don't know how to pronounce that, said Sunday, March 29th. Pretty wild. I'm not going to, speculate any further. Just wanted to share that. All right. So again, too risky to implement one. And now let's see the adopters. So we have Tunisia, we have Venezuela, we have Senegal, we have Marshall Islands. Okay. And we're all seeing their actual currency. Okay. So this is sovereign. We got the petrodollar, things that, well, not petrodollar, but you know what I mean. So again, we got Senegal talking about their blockchain-based eCFA, again, named after the CFA franc. So we can see that if you want to read more about that. Highly secure digital instrument held in all mobile money and e-money wallets. Remember, mobile banking, this is where ILP interledger protocol will come into play, bridging these ledgers, these networks of banks, mobile networks, any type of online cloud network, cold storage, offline wallets, you name it. All right. Or even, decentralized exchanges. Okay. We got Tunisia. So first name, issue a blockchain-based national currency called dinar, also known as DigiCash or BitDinar, and I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong as well. Can't know everything. All right, the Marshall Islands, right here, population of roughly 53,000 people, being a presidential republic in free association with the U.S., has been using the U.S. dollar as its official currency. However, since 2018, it's implemented another legal tender, its own cryptocurrency dubbed Sovereign SOV. Sovereign, or SOV, reminds me of store of value. Pretty comical there. Okay, so again, as a country, we reserve the right to issue a currency in whatever form it is, whether in digital or fiat form. So interesting to see that again released. Oh wow, they publicly released an ICO for this. Pretty crazy to do that. Again, 24 million tokens to avoid inflation. Okay, and then Venezuela, of course, we know how crazy that is. I know the Modern Investors covered this in detail as well, in the levels of inflation, even, Argentina coming, with this as well. We can see the rejectors: Germany, Estonia, Switzerland, Ecuador, Hong Kong, Japan. Okay. I want to read Japan specifically. So where Bitcoin is recognized as an official means of payment, dismissed the idea of CBDCs. Deputy Governor declared that such currencies can have a negative impact on the existing financial system. Interesting. So the Deputy Governor noted that CBDCs are stimulating global discussion on to what extent central banks should provide their payment and settlement infrastructures to society. Very, very interesting. We know Yoshitaka Gatao of SBI, also, very well connected with both, kind of investors in Ripple and R3, is making a massive push for XRP to be one of the go-to settlement options in the digital asset space. So the issuance of central bank digital currencies for general use could be analogous to allowing households and firms to directly have accounts in the central bank. This may have a large impact on the aforementioned two-tiered currency system and private banks' financial intermediation. All right. And then Germany, I just want to see this. So far, there are no convincing reasons for issuing digital currency, digital central bank money for a wide range of users in Germany and the Eurozone. Interesting. Well, now there's a huge reason. Notice this. This is the narrative, 2015, 2018, all those years. This is the narrative. There's no need to do that. There's nothing pushing them. All right. Then again, fears voiced. It's just so silly. Again, of course, they're looking to lower transaction costs, AML compliance, terrorist funding concerns. You get it. But it's funny how quickly the narrative changes now that cash is seen as infectious and everything's going digital. And there's no arguments. We've been saying this, last year, 2 years ago. And it's kind of funny how we're seen as crazy. And now some of the biggest banks, too big to fail banks like Deutsche Bank, are saying, yes, we need to embrace a more cashless society. Now the banks are saying it and nobody's paying attention. It's pretty comical, and that's just how it is. And I'll keep sharing this information. I'll keep giving my 2 cents for what it's worth. I guarantee, guys, we are on the journey of a lifetime. One of the biggest transfers of wealth. Okay, experimenters, we got Uruguay. I've been there. Iran, Dubai, Singapore. Right? So you can kind of go over them. You get the gist. And of course, Singapore is a hotbed for fintechs nowadays. We know how far they've come. This is kind of dated back to 2017, 2018. And then, of course, additional researchers and, Scandinavia, Norway, Sweden. We got China, Thailand. Of course, with the Thai baht, keep in mind, Israel, United Kingdom, Canada. All right. And basically, Ripple has all of Canada as well in the pipeline. Royal Bank of Canada, you name it. Keep an eye on all of this, even like the e-krona currency that they were building in the past. I believe that was Sweden. Hopefully it wasn't Switzerland. I'm blanking. But again, guys, we're seeing what's happening. You get the narrative. All right. Next up. Right here, XRP Crypto Wolf again, responding to crisis with digital payments for social protection. Many governments are now considering direct digital payments to households and small businesses outside of traditional social protection mechanisms. They're seeking for a way to respond to the economic and social consequence of this global pandemic. This narrative is always changing. Again, this is blogs.worldbank.org. Remember the groups I say to pay attention to. I'm not going to act like I know everything. What I'm saying is watch AIIB, watch the World Bank, watch the IMF, watch the Bank of International Settlements. Of course, watch Ripple, watch, the Fed, in tandem with the Treasury now, as we know the recent news. Watch those guys, then watch the big banks and payment providers, okay? Watch Finastra, watch HSBC, watch, Deutsche Bank. See what these huge behemoths are doing. They're always going to kind of give you little hints. That's just my opinion. All right, next up. So this is interesting as well. Matthew Liny on Twitter. Thank you for sharing. So the inevitable XRP corridor to Morocco. Many XRP integrated companies are operational to exchange the annual $5 billion US. Let's take a look. So Morocco, number one, has expressed interest in blockchain tech. To no surprise, Morocco to widen access to financial services with technology. And then in quotes, they say blockchain on Morocco World News blockchain is by far the most disruptive technology of the decade. And I tend to agree. All right. On a permissionless basis, automation, disintermediation, you get it. And security as well. Especially if, all this quantum talk is true as well. Or like multi-sig, there's so much protection I got to learn about. Anyways, okay, Earthport, RippleNet partner, of course, huge, gateway type of partner, owned by Visa as well. They were required RippleNet partner since like 2015, and they started payment rails with Morocco back in 2013. So Earthport builds on cross-border payments network with first route into North Africa. Remember, Navin Gupta, also the managing director handling, North Africa and the Middle Eastern regions. All right, we can see Earthport, UK-listed cross-border payment service provider, announced the rollout of a fully automated payment service into Morocco. Again, Morocco is one of the top remittance destinations on the African continent. No wonder that XRP, or at least Ripple, would be targeting them, if not other providers as well, to at least reduce the friction in payments. And if you guys are from Morocco, any viewers, let me know down below. That's really, really interesting. And I want to know if you guys have any insights that you could share. And now second largest remittance country in North Africa with an estimated $6.4 billion worth of payments received in 2010. Next up, Earthport customer, World Remit is also ramping up instant money transfers. I'm going to speed through this because you guys get the gist. April 2017, digital money transfer service World Remit has partnered with Moroccan financial company. Don't know how to pronounce that word. Wafakash, something like that. There was not a space here, so Wafakash 2, I thought it was one word, to support the growing demand for instant remittances and immediate access of funds in the country. Okay, so hence settlement. Not just, payment messaging, but true settlement. And eventually, those words will become one thing again, and we'll probably just use payments. But in reality, people don't realize there's a difference between payment and settlement. Next, hear from the clients. So a quote from the CEO of World Remit. Earthport is already proving to be an excellent partner for World Remit. Keep in mind, they are literally partners with Ripple. This is very, very good news, guys. I know everybody says, oh, XRP, is not going to succeed. We already have this many partners. We're slowly scaling up. Ripple has 300, over 300 partners. Big deal. Okay, what about Finastra? They have 9,000 partners. Okay, and they're direct partners. What about Earthport? We have thousands of gateways and connections right there. Bank of America will be confirmed. Just wait. We'll see if they'll ever actually, confirm it on the news. They're at no, they're not obligated or obliged to do that, but I'm just guaranteeing it right now. Let's see. Let's keep going. So I want a few other interesting things to show here. So right here, Tata TCS, guys, is working to settle securities. Now remember the investments into Securitize. Pay attention to those groups that are investing into Securitize, investing into, other things like STOs as well. All right. And I'm also, I'm holding little Tezos just because I see it as potential. I also like, ADA or Cardano. Some of them might take a while. Some could fail entirely. And then some could absolutely kill it. And that's why I'm just kind of hedging my bet. So right here, Tata Consultancy Services powers blockchain-based cross-border securities settlement. Right here, the Central Securities Depository, CSD, involved are reportedly the CSD of Morocco and Kuwait Clearing Company, the CSD of Kuwait. And right here, they're working alongside. Okay, created on the chain along with accounts, instantaneously settled. Then right here, Tata Consultancy adopts Ripple technology. Now I'll just pull up this article again. So right here, I've shared this in a few videos, 2019 as well. Now right here, their clients include Citibank, UK, okay, GE, General Electric, and Microsoft. They're, absolutely huge, an Indian multinational conglomerate holding company, so you guys can do the math. Right here, of course, we've shared in the previous videos, go back like 5 or 6 videos, we talked about the Quartz cross-border remittance, talked about all the money there, talked about, how can really prove a use case. Of course, R3's core to enterprise blockchain connections. We've done, Microsoft Azure connections. And then right here, deployed at more than 450 installations worldwide, the largest collection of components, enterprise and consumer apps for the financial industry via the cloud. And all leveraging the power of new and extended ecosystems. And if you guys, really quick, let me just do Tata Consultancy. services, and let's just look on the best resource there is. Wikipedia is a joke. So right here, guys, let's just kind of look. Revenue, almost 21 billion in 2019. Absolute behemoth on Fortune, India 500 list. 100 billion market capitalization. First Indian IT company to do so. You get the gist. Big groups are involved and partnered with Ripple. And a lot of you say, okay, well, this doesn't have anything to do with XRP, nor will it. And I beg to differ, because literally the CEOs and executives would not be lying. And they say, if you don't think that XRP is a part of our plan, then you simply don't understand. XRP is a huge part of them to leverage and get more power and keep going. And I believe that Ripple, groups like Circle, Coinbase, they will absolutely IPO in the years to come. Hopefully they do it a little after XRP moons, because I would like to reinvest into those stocks as well, or whatever type of new financial ecosystem we're going to move to after this crazy recession is all said and done. All right, next up. So then lastly right here, MoneyGram also has partnered with Al Barid Bank, all right, or Al Barid Bank, over 1,800 locations in the country. All right, and this is right out of Morocco again, money transfer services in Morocco. So you can see a lot is happening there, targeting Northern Africa specifically to help you reduce the friction in payments. All right, we can see what's happening, how they're all connected. It's crazy how this ecosystem just keeps going. And, I like the name Ripple because it really is a good analogy for what is happening in the payment space. All right, we're going to finish up with this. I know many of you have seen this. I'm going to get going on another video, but XRP_Stort showing, of course, Mike Novogratz. I've personally always, liked him besides his ignorance of, Ripple, but hey, we're not all going to agree on everything. Of course, you guys are familiar with Galaxy Digital, huge, fund as well. He's a big investor in Bitcoin, but listen to how even the market is starting to, get to him, I guess, at this point. So he says, this is the year for Bitcoin. And if it doesn't go up a lot by the end of the year, and this is recent, I think I might just hang my spurs. And that's pretty crazy, because here's another quote by him. We should have doubled within 6 months, maybe within the end of the year, retesting the old highs of 20,000. That's pretty crazy. At the time being, of course, much of cryptocurrency market is, coupled to Bitcoin. But I do believe, in due time that will change. But there's going to have to be multiple catalyst events, and what people are saying is, regulation, we need custody, and then after those, then we're ready to catapult. All right, listen up to this, and thank you, Stort, again for sharing, guys. This is XRP_Stort. Definite follow on Twitter. If you don't have a Twitter, I definitely recommend getting one and just kind of following the XRP community members. It's a great way to learn more and also ask questions.
I am seeing investors I never saw before, hedge fund investors, high net worth investors, getting into Bitcoin for the first time. And so, like I said this in a tweet, this is the year for Bitcoin. And if it doesn't go up a lot by the end of the year, I think I might just hang my spurs. Because if it doesn't go up now, I'm not sure when it will. But we're seeing real flows into Bitcoin. It's a hard asset.
That's some crazy, FUD right there. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt being spread. I saw Mark Cuban on the news maybe last week, and he was talking about, what stock he bought or owns a lot of. I think he said Twitter. Guys, he's completely shilling it, just like you guys can say I'm shilling XRP. I don't believe to influence the price off YouTube. I literally just want to share this information and kind of do a massive told you so to anyone that doubted this in the future. That's literally my intention. Is also, I'm doing research, might as well share it, and I'm having a lot of fun just making videos and talking to a microphone. But all right, listen to this. He's showing this now. What is he had an angle here? Is he being genuine? Is he actually, able to move the price? Just, a few questions that come to mind. So just keep listening.
Asset, and we are literally. It's not just the U.S. that's going to monetize, but money doesn't grow on trees, and right now. Feels like we crossed the Rubicon where everyone feels like money grows on trees. I think the Fed's doing the wrong thing. It's just we're going to debase the value of fiat.
So Mike, give us a number, and if we don't, just so we can gauge your level of expectation, where should it reach in 6 months? And if it doesn't, as you said, you'll kind of give up on Bitcoin. I think it's a really interesting swing there.
We should have doubled within 6 months. We really should have. This is the time, and maybe it's within the end of the year. Retesting the old highs up to 20,000. Again,
Mike, the problem with.
Let's see what the end of the year holds, guys, because with the halving, a lot of people are speculating this or that, acting like they know. I'm just going to keep my mouth shut because we know that this space is entirely unpredictable each and every year.
Your theory, sorry to cut you off, but everyone wants dollars now. I mean, there's a scramble for dollars, and we've seen the dollar rise in a period of stress. And I think it shows that, you know, when push comes to shove, we may be monetizing and money doesn't grow on trees, but dollars are still in demand and are valuable.
That's always first reaction, right? First reaction is to get to safety. And all of a sudden, though, people are going to say, wait a minute, what are they doing to the dollar? So that's the, you know, when we come up with the next fiscal package, which will come up, I'm sure, within the next 4 months, another $2 or $3 trillion because the first one wasn't enough. You're going to see more and more people migrate. I'm telling you, I'm seeing it as we speak. I'm getting calls from you know, real big investors who had never thought about it before and saying, tell me about this Bitcoin. Tell me about this company. And so, you know,
And keep in mind, you know, multimillionaires and billionaires and hedge fund managers are looking to mitigate the risk as much as possible. So yes, when the market goes down a few percent, it is killing them. What was it? There was one man that, what was it? He was, I don't know, he probably lost, you know, $30 million overnight. And that's, you know, nothing compared to what the hedge funds are losing in this market right now. If the Dow goes lower, they are in trouble. They are going to be looking for other asset classes, particularly asset classes that have been suppressed for a few years and coming out of the bear market, such as potentially metals and cryptocurrency. Now, do I think it's all over, you know, for low prices? Not yet. I mean, I've seen some very, very intelligent people talking about that we could see lower across the board. Someone, you know, I've been seeing even silver going to sub $10 for the time being before going up. Now, does that mean that's going to last forever? No. Long-term trend, nothing changes. I'm absolutely bullish on, you know, physical gold, physical silver, XRP, and a few other altcoins in particular that are going to solve real problems and are doing so and have, you know, trials and, you know, have been tested in proof of concepts. But this is what is coming, guys. We are on the leading edge in unknown territory. We are, you know, going where we've never gone before. So don't be fooled if someone tells you they know what or, you know, how exactly it's going to happen.
Added to my position today, and I've already got a piece of, you know, large position. And so that's the one big bet I have. And then on the other side,
Sure.
Being more agile.
All right, guys, remember to check the links in the description. We got tax-free crypto Roth IRAs, exchanges, cold wallets down below. Shout out to Jamie XRP and all other top channel members and supporters. Appreciate you guys. Hit the like button, and until next time.